Nobody really ever talks about how hard it is to outgrow the people that you've spent the majority of your life hanging around, calling when you're sad, calling when you're up. How hard it is to notice the gap between where you're at and where they're at. The space that's between a past version of you and a newer version of yourself. I've been on a journey for about 4-ish years now. I've been single for over 4 years. I've been sober for almost 4 years. And so there's this something that's happening at four, you know, and this is really funny. So I Googled numerology number four, and the four number symbolizes stability, structure, and strong work ethic. It's known as the builder. It represents the practical application of ideas and laying solid foundations. If the number four figure prominently in your numerology chart, like a life path, you likely are disciplined, organized, dependable, and a natural problem solver. So this number four, this builder, this stability, this foundation really speaks to where I'm at in life right now. And I'm noticing this foundation that I've set for myself and how stable and secure I've become, and I know I'm still growing into, and I know that there's so much more for me to build, and I can see that. And I think that sometimes the hard part about where I'm at in life is that a lot of people around me don't see. I can see that they don't see where they can go, their potential that they're not building, and the guilt that I have feeling this way. And this is for all of the women out there who stay in relationships for far too long, stay in friendships for far too long. And it's not because that these people, sometimes they might be toxic, but they also sometimes might be friendships where values have just changed. I have been building so much in the last 4 years that I'm a completely different version of myself. And there's nothing wrong with noticing your growth. In fact, that's amazing. If you're also on this path of growing and changing and evolving and being, allowing yourself to reflect and giving yourself permission to grow into a version of yourself that's better than yesterday, better than 4 years ago, better than 3 years ago, 1 year, a day ago, that's really remarkable that you're doing this hard work. No one ever talks about the loneliness that happens when you're on a path of healing, of growing, and letting go. There is a sweetness to it in the sense of this knowing of how magical you are, yet also the in between phase of trying to relate to people that aren't relatable to you anymore, and almost doling yourself down, degrading yourself down to the level of frequency of the people that are in your circle or around your, or in your family, or just around you in general, and talking about the things that you've moved past, that are old parts of yourself that served as a lesson, but the people around you haven't learned that lesson yet, if ever. That's really hard. That's where the loneliness is. But I know that looking back on this video, on this chapter in my life, I know that this is just the in-between stage. This is the in-between stage. This is the stage where I'm being forced to express myself, to put myself out there, to use my voice to connect, to create community of people that are in a similar boat, that are on a similar wavelength, that are on a similar path. So today I was doing a little bit of journaling, a little bit of reading, and I just got this like burst of energy to put on some pink eyeshadow. And this is another thing is I will present myself in a way that also dulls myself down because I love wearing bright colored makeup. I always have, but I know that if I were to go somewhere and there were some friends there and either they don't wear a lot of makeup or I would stand out too much, I would just wear neutrals. And I don't know, I think I'm just like meant to stand out. I'm meant to not go with the crowd. And then I noticed that, there's all of these things online and media and all these messaging, all that crap and bullshit out there. And I noticed that I stopped wearing colorful eyeshadow and makeup because I was noticing my skin changing and my skin not holding it in a way that was nice and smooth. And I don't even know where I got that idea that my eyelids needed to be completely smooth for my eyeshadow to look good. And so I haven't really worn any like colorful makeup in a really long time just because of, you know, what other people have to say about women who are older or have skin texture, what looks good on them. And so I woke up today and I was like, pink eyeshadow with my pink hair. I really am in my feminine era, I think, because I've been really gravitating toward the color pink. I didn't used to like it, or maybe I told myself I didn't like it because of there's like hate toward the color pink. I don't know, it just makes me feel really happy. And how dare I let society or other women even hate on the color pink? I've even been thinking about buying pink dishware. Isn't that so random? But I know these are the things that bring me joy, and I want more joy in my life. And if that means that I'm going through a period of loneliness, I'm willing to accept that so I find my people, my tribe, my community of pink lovers. Purple, blue, green, yellow, orange, whatever it is. Black, white, cream, beige. You know, sometimes I struggle with taking up space, and I notice it from time to time. Yesterday, I sat down at a table in a busy bar, and I really didn't want to go to the bar top because it'd be too loud, and I also don't drink, and I was feeling pressured to spend money, and I had this moment where I didn't really want to order a mocktail, mostly because I just wasn't really thirsty, and they're super sugary, and the list goes on. And I decided to just order a water, even though the server was like, "Oh, so you're waiting for some people? So you're gonna want to drink?" And I was like, no. But I felt like the pressure to order a mocktail or some kind of NA drink, and I just decided on water, and I let that be. I just let that be. I was telling myself, you can take up space. You could take up space. It's fine. You're a paying customer. Don't worry about the server. Don't worry about, taking up space because you're a one top, basically. And I look back at that and I just felt like a little bit out of place. I was really struggling with taking up space. I was focused on what I appeared like to others instead of how I wanted to be toward others. And I think that's something that I'm trying to embody more these days is how do I want to be to people? And to people, I want to be kind and compassionate and accepting and understanding. And when I lean more into how I want to be to people, it somehow is infectious and it extends to myself. And taking up space in public spaces has been really challenging for me. And not in the sense of like, I'm totally cool with like going to the movies by myself or going out to eat. Totally totally fine with doing that. But it's sometimes certain places, like if it's a super expensive restaurant, I just won't go to it. I will go to places that are kind of more casual, not fast food, but like casual places. And I think that's something that I want to step more into is splurging on myself, really treating myself. Self-esteem is everything. And when you have poor self-esteem, the beliefs that you have about yourself and about the world are quite low and in the gutter. And your relationships reflect it, your career reflects it, how you eat reflects it, just how you treat your body reflects it. And self-esteem, having self-esteem is the way, is the root, is the path to self-love and acceptance and understanding. And I think that this in-between stage that I'm in is facing me with a new level of self-esteem that I haven't attained yet. It's almost like I am seeing the old version of myself. I'm seeing my worth now, basically. And it's really hard to be around people that don't know their worth and somehow feeling responsible to take care of them. The fear of, if I continue to grow, who's going to be there with me? And a lot of times I think that that is why people subconsciously don't work on themselves, because it is more comfortable to stay at a lower level of consciousness, a lower frequency. And in these moments of this in between, I see the remnants of an old version of me looking up to the version of me now. And then I have no idea what spaces and people and environments I'm going to be in the next 4 years. It's also really exciting and scary, but almost like I'm addicted, for lack of a better word, of what it's like to keep going, to keep expanding. It feels so good to expand. It feels so good to expand. And I want people to realize and know that they can do that too. There was a time I didn't think that I could do it too. There was a time that I would write in my journal how much I loathed myself, how much I hated myself, how much I thought that the only way that I was going to get through this world was to unalive myself, that was somehow going to be the way that I get out of all of this pain and the suffering. And I didn't know when, but I thought it was going to happen someday. And now I don't think that at all. And it's because I've been working on my self-esteem and my self-worth for so many years. And it wasn't until I turned about 32 years old, 4 years ago, that I finally saw a glimmer out. And maybe it wasn't even a glimmer. It was just like this, I'm going to do it. I have to, or else. Like, what am I waiting for? It's like everyone talks about sobriety as being, they've never regretted sobriety. And I decided that I was going to take that fear of that unknown and embrace it. And, you know, this is what's coming out of it, is me making a YouTube video. Yes, this is super cringy. I know it's going to be so cringy. And you know what? It's better than having a hangover, anxiety. It's better than, making a butt out of myself. It's, so much better. I would so much choose this discomfort over the discomfort that I used to have, because that was so much more intense. Because at least the discomfort that I have now is discomfort that is expanding me, is growing me, is challenging me past my edges. I get to grow, I get to learn. Not the opposite of that, to hate myself, to guilt trip myself, to shame myself. That's what was happening when I was uncomfortable back then. Yeah, I'm just really curious about what's next. And not even what's next, more like, what else do I get to experience? I've always felt that I don't want this to come across as like narcissistic or anything, but I've always felt that I was here for something so much bigger. I just don't know what that is. No idea what that is. And I have had a teacher tell me something along the lines of the wound is where your purpose is. And if my wound has always been a lack of self-worth, difficulty expressing myself, advocating for myself, feeling less than, lacking worth, oh baby, I'm going toward it. Because that is something that I find so much meaning and power in now that I'm starting to explore it or have been exploring it just by being me. You know, authenticity is one of the highest levels of frequency. And I think that's also what's going on in this in-between stage for me is seeing the people around me conforming, shape-shifting into versions of themselves of how they think they should be. And it's almost like I'm detecting it so fast these days. And there was probably a point in my life where I saw an authentic person and I was scared to befriend them because I didn't feel worthy enough deep, deep, deep down inside. We're all so hungry for validation that we search for it in external forms. And there is no short supply of getting external validation from food, sex, drugs, whatever it is. It's an infinite supply, but it's infinitely destructive. And through my own self-esteem work, I am beginning to find that validation internally. And all of the wisdom is there. It's all there. And the more that I confront it, the more stable I feel, which goes all the way back to that number 4, stability of building. We have to build ourselves internally. We have to internally validate ourselves to have self-esteem, self-worth, and self-love. It's not an easy task or an easy journey, but it is a worthwhile journey. To be intentional. Intentional is inward, internal. It comes from within. And so if you're still here, thank you, thank you, thank you, and see you in the next one.